Good morning. Happy Sunday, August 10th, 2025. It is time for another episode of Tech Stack Reimagined. And today, of course, we are talking about the release of GPT-5, what we think it means, what we're hearing, and our reactions, probably most of what everybody else is reacting to. But I know Nico's got some direct experience he can share from. How you doing today, man?
Doing well, doing well. No, this isn't another room in my house. This is a cabin up in northeast Georgia, and here visiting my son for the weekend, and trying desperately not to unplug. But the reception up here is challenging, and that makes being offline very challenging. Uh, and I didn't quite realize like how I guess like how really into this stuff I was like on a daily, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know this past week I was talking about like the potential like dopamine like screw up with getting such massive amounts of instant gratification like so easily. Um, that oddly wasn't as much of a big deal. It was more it was more that you have this thing in your pocket on the daily that you can pour your ideas into, and even if you're not like trying to build something out to fruition, it's you can still like ideate with it, you can talk to it, you like, and it's not like, oh, I was missing the conversation. It's like I was missing the conversation with this particular thing, right? Like there's this conversation that it's like there were things that I was learning about that was like, oh my gosh, I want to add this into the Oracle, but it's that ADHD. If I don't remember it now and put it in there, then I can't. And all, and there's no signal. It's like, okay, well, just have to deal with that, and we'll get to it when we get back.
Yeah.
But that
No, I
on top of the
remember.
fact that it's GPT-5 weekend is like it's been it's been a challenge, but it's been all right.
Glad to see you're surviving and you did find a way to connect. We're going to try and keep it tight today, just because we know that connection is not to be taken for granted.
No.
Um, but I remember, I feel like we are seeing, more people say, like, instead of Google it, GPT it, instead of this, now that. That is almost always like AI based in some way.
Mhm.
And I liken it to like the first time I realized that need to be connected, like going into a store without my phone for whatever reason, and about 20 times wanting to get my phone out to check on something, like to Google
Yeah.
something, to learn, to answer a question that just popped up, like all around me, looking at products, whether it's grocery stores or Best Buys or Targets or whatever. Like that ability to just know a little bit more, right?
Hmm.
Like is attractive for human beings. Like we don't like being uncertain. So our phone has always, well, since a long time ago, given us a little bit more certainty, whether it be like people we're connected to and their availability and not having to remember phone numbers, and all the way now to being able to have a conversation like without a human, like without
Yeah.
having to call somebody or text somebody just to think things out. And knowing that, like, to your point of like getting the ideas out of your head, like you can come back to that conversation. You just get it started, right?
Yep.
And then come back to it. You know where it's going to be. Um, at least if you don't start 20 conversations, uh, like since that one, which sometimes happens. Um, but yeah, man, I feel you. And I think this is, for me, like if I say I'm going to be disconnected or want to be disconnected, then I have to be in a place that truly disallows me from being connected.
Right. Right. Yeah. It's
So
it's definitely different when you're in a space where like you could be, but you're just not. Versus like, hey, I'm going to the beach for a few hours, right?
yeah,
Like there is that. and it's weird. It's almost like a feeling of like having it taken away from you. Um, and it's kind of funny. It doesn't really give anything away because it's actually not the main plot of the book. But I'm almost finished with my own book, not Claude's book. It's just my own ideas from sci-fi, from decades of absorbing sci-fi. Um, and it is a very compelling story. It's a great story. It is timeless, awesomely enough. And part of, and so the main sort of arc of the story is that people have this sort of embedded GPT in their heads, right? And the only limitation it has is that it can't read your thoughts, but otherwise it can see what you see, it can hear what you hear, it can experience the same endorphins and all the different chemical changes in your body, and at the same time it regulates. So if things are getting too noisy, it automatically like tunes down your ears so that you don't get too like overwhelmed by stuff. If you're getting nervous, it starts releasing beta blockers so that you start like you don't get overtly nervous. If adrenaline gets too high and it's not supposed to, right, it automatically releases some cortisol, so it kind of like calms that down. Yeah, same thing. If you're feeling depressed, it kind of releases a little serotonin and kind of boosts you up a little bit, right? Um, and so there's a point at which the main character loses his and like loses the control over it, and the stark like feeling, um, which visually I can only compare it to that scene in Man of Steel when Zod gets his face mask kind of ripped off, and then the whole world is just kind of all the senses are kind of just battering him in. Same for Superman when he was coming up, like trying to control all the different things coming at him. Uh, and so, yeah, it kind of does feel like that, where you're without this device, you feel almost lost, almost lost in the world. Like, oh my God, I have to take Cheerios at face value. I can no longer do the million cross comparison to figure out what eating the bowl now will do to me 5 years from now, right?
Oh man.
Uh,
Yeah.
like it's like having a superpower stripped away from you.
Yeah.
It really does feel like that at this point to me, like for me
Yeah.
anyway.
No, I think that like it speaks to, and watch me tie this into GPT-5, like the different levels of, say, power or value, right? Um, as we get new models and the power increases, and then there's this, every model that comes out, there's this fight flight response that's happening. Like, oh, in some way, somehow expectations are not being met. Either it's blowing our minds with how good it is, or it's not doing anything like the way it did, right? Um, and then we have these levels of, free versus like the other levels that you're paying for, and then you have like this cross like agent GPT or deep research, or like you have this big matrix of functionality, and like how we've been experiencing that, like infrastructure wise, right? Even in your space, like where you are now, like you still
Yeah,
got connected, but it's like when you come from a place of like hyper connectivity and fast like internet, and then you
yeah,
go to the next place and you're like, oh, can I get the wireless? I'm like, oh yeah, I think we got wireless here. Let me go find that for you. Oh yeah, we got it. Like here's, and then you dial in, and it's like slow as shit, right? It's like, oh no, I
mhm.
meant like, do you have it like real like internet?
Like real
Like,
internet
oh no,
connection.
like this is pretty fast for us. It's like, yeah, these different levels of just functionality and availability. Um, and what I'm like, that place, right? That place I just described, like,
Yeah,
what would they even do with like fiber, right? Or like if they haven't built it in yet, there's a reason like people aren't asking for it. So this constant push pull of like user adoption, user experience. And this is where I think we're already getting to the place where, like, if you can accept that it's just smarter than us, like in every
Mhm.
way, like for a while, like as long as we think we can control like the outcomes and the outputs and any way you want to like define those things, like we're going to continue to be either wildly impressed and like just have our expectations like awesomely destroyed, or wildly disappointed because we
Yep.
thought we knew, right? And we think we can control. And like, if you can let go of that control right now, like that is the sweet spot,
Yep.
because like every upgrade, right? Because they are upgrades, let's be real. Like, it's so crazy to watch people get disappointed about GPT-5
Yeah.
and then talk about it in the context of their previous instruction set,
Yep.
right? Like, yeah, because it's better. Like, your instructions were designed for this control that you're trying to apply to a specific model. And if you want to leave it that way, GPT-5 will respond to you not liking the path, and it'll be like, all right, I guess we gotta use this old instruction set. Like, I
Yeah.
tried to move you forward, but you're not engaging, and like, so I guess we just do it your way. And like your
Yeah.
way is gonna continually be the old way. Cause like one of the ways I can tell things are different is anytime I ask it to create new instructions, right? In the new model. Almost always there is a difference from the way it was last time, right?
Yeah.
And there is insight and understanding there. And if you know that that's a thing, of course your previous instructions are ripe for like bias that the new model was not trained to like manage. Like,
Yep.
so that's just been very interesting for me to see the reactions, because like, especially doing content with you and George, like I know where your mindsets are at. You're already at mindsets of abundance. So of course you guys get in and just enjoy everything
Hmm.
immediately. Meanwhile, people who are not there yet have a different reaction. And it's like, all right, folks. Yeah, you're disappointed. Like, you're gonna continue to be. But the crazy thing is, like, in a few weeks, everything will just like smooth out.
Yep.
And because it's gonna get better and better, faster and faster at even helping us through those challenges. Right. So that's what I'm seeing. What have you been
You know,
let's start with, like, I'll let you respond to that, but also interested in you going into your direct experiences over the past few days.
so I'm hearing the same thing. And oddly enough, I was just talking to Laura about it because I was listening to the latest episode of Moonshots, and not too far into it, but oddly enough, that was the segment that it was sort of getting to when I broke away from it. And I understand it from both sides. And and what you're saying makes full sense. And that's just the way it's going to be. Like, this is where the great separation happens. If you haven't been on board yet, it's not like it's too late, but you're just not really going to get it for a while. And by the time you do, it'll seem overwhelming, but at least you'll have dipped your toes in. So hopefully you'll stick around for the party. Um, I say it's a great separation because that's what it feels like to me. If you have been using this technology, if you have been working with these models and been building things with these models and talking to them and building custom GPTs and doing that kind of stuff, you saw it like the first second right out the gate. I was so over the top about the instantaneous. I mean, like, I had already released the update to Triple H because of the instructional change and how just amazing that was. So it was like you could use O4 Mini High and still get like extremely great results out of it, as opposed to me having to lock it down to 4.1. And then all of a sudden 5 comes out, and I'm not even like, it's a matter of like, wow, it doesn't even matter now. Like it will actually just follow what I tell it to do. And if I continue using the method I was using before, it's even stronger now, right? So like I can do like even like I've changed. I haven't used the personalization for like regular GPT for shit like over a year. I just dropped one in like the other night, and it's fundamentally different now. Like the conversations are different, and not in a way where like, oh well, if you had done that before, it probably would have. No, tried it before, didn't work. Yes, when I updated how I write instructions, tried it, didn't work, right? Like I haven't used instructions with the base model for a long time because it's worked for me better than otherwise. And now with 5, it's like it's not like, it's almost like, well, why would you put instructions on 5 now? And it's like, because it's like a fire hose in terms of like how, like, I don't know, the the capability. When I ask it to do things now, I have to like tame it down. Like I really do have to like I pay a little bit more attention to how I'm prompting for stuff, because like it'll just go buck wild. Like, so what's awesome is that like first of all, it'll switch between, it's kind of cool. It has like a regular mode and then a thinking mode that's kind of attached to the regular mode. So basically that is like the feeling of as if you were to put together 4.1 and oh 04. So, or like oh 04 mini. So like it'll do some thinking, but pretty quickly, but not like oh 03 long-term thinking. You can do GPT-5 thinking mode, and then that also has like a dual layer thinking to it, which is, it feels extremely ridiculous, especially like deep research now. Like what it was before was compelling, right? And I was still using like Gemini because it was still pretty, like they were kind of neck and neck. Forget about it. Forget about it. Like deep research now with GPT-5, whether you're using it openly, whether you're using it on your CRM, like it's it is. It's like we're at that magic point, right? Where, wow, not only do I trust, so I say like the custom instructions because like I actually trust GPT now. Like I have that 100% layer when my hands are just off the wheel. And it's like, okay, well, everything that's coming out of you is like, I'm having that Altman moment where it's just like, yeah, I'm having a really difficult time finding flaw, right? And I saw the posts about it on Twitter. I saw posts about it on LinkedIn about people talking about like, oh, it's not really that much better, or it's kind of better, but I had to keep poking it in order to get it to do this thing. And I got to tell you, like at this point, it's just you. It's not the model. It's you. Like you aren't using it right. And there's nothing like, it's the difference between someone using a hammer, but like two people using this, like the same hammer, but one guy just like hits it a little off center. So the head's like slightly tilted in on the wood instead of like flat flush up against it. And that dude blames the hammer, right? Like that's what it's feeling like to me, that like, oh, well, there was a nuance in how you asked the question, and that nuance made it go, again, the weights on these things, when it's, billions of parameters, they're billions of pegs in a Plinko machine, your words being the Plinko chips. And if you don't use the words properly, your sentence goes down a different path than it might have before. And that's how you get to the wrong answer, because you didn't know how to ask the question properly. um, it's an interesting thing where it's also bleeding over now into vibe coding, right? Because the same models are now underlying all the vibe coding apps. So GPT-5 is like almost the same day. Everybody's got it under the hood. Not yet on Replit. I imagine it's going to be like Monday or something like that. Um, so it's, to me, it's nuts. Cursor already like making doing something with cognition, and now they're working with GPT-5 under the hood and like building a specific bench model. Um, from what I understand, math wise, it's basically solving like really complex equations to the point where it would take like high-end mathematicians like a week and a half or like 2 weeks to solve a problem. Solvable stuff, but like it's doing it in minutes.
Yeah.
Right. So like we're getting to that arc where it's like, wow, pretty soon it's going to take minutes to solve problems that would have otherwise take months. And they're saying, and so like some of the top mathematicians, people who study these models, you've seen it on this show, folks. You've seen it on the Daily Show too. Like we showed what the Oracle says about when shit's going to hit the fan, and it's predicting spring. I threw well, I haven't yet. I haven't thrown the GPT-5 release into it. I threw the OSS release into it, and that was already like, oh shit, well, like move it up. It's like January, Feb, like maybe March at the latest. GPT-5, and so like what Chris was talking about, the most important thing about this, it's not. I love. I have this like love-hate relationship with users. The daily users that are free, that are not hitting cap, I don't care about you. And they don't either. Because you're writing an email or you're transcripting a meeting and you're doing like the regular stuff that you don't even need this level of shit for, right? Like you should be using like GPT 4.0. Like you could use 4.0 and do the exact same thing, and it would have nearly the same like output. You could throw some prompt and system prompts in there, and you could get it like to do the same thing. So that's why when you're using 5, you're like, oh, it's not really that special because you're still just doing the same thing. So why would it be more special? What were you expecting, basically, right? Like it was already doing a good job at the thing that it was a PhD at to begin with. So I don't know what you were, you know what I mean? Like it's not like it was gonna. What if it made up words, right? Was that going to amaze you or something? So like when they talk about math in terms of solving math problems, it's not about like solving the problem so much as even if it solves a current problem that's known, but it solves it in a more elegant way. That's what makes it profound, is that if it can sort of like find this shortcut that works beautifully and makes this complex math all of a sudden make sense in this very elegant way, then you can apply that towards something else, right? Like now all of a sudden you may not have like solved an unsolvable problem, but you've introduced a new tool that we didn't have before that now we can apply in a mathematical sense or whatever. And it's kind of in that same way, right? Like where I wasn't using GPT to do, like, honestly, I don't know, the other people might have, great, hands off to you, to write novels. Yeah, I'll definitely use 5. Like it's like it's at Claude. So that's what's funny, right? Like it's at Claude level writing, right? And so when the model comparisons happen now, again, if you haven't been using them, you kind of don't understand. I was in a group recently that was asking about this very topic, and they were like, "Oh, so what's your favorite model?" And I just laughed because I was just like, "All of them." I don't understand that that question.
The AI model. Can I answer
Yeah.
that way? The AI model.
It's like, like whichever one I interface with, right, that does the thing that I need it to do, that's the one that I'm going to use, right? Like, so I say that because like GPT-5 for medical is insane. It's absolutely insane. How insane? It solved medical cases that professional doctors couldn't solve for years. For parents who have like sick kids where they were told there would never be a cure, it actually was able to figure out and understand, hey, their diagnosis was wrong. And people would go in. I mean, it's happened multiple times, not even one story, multiple stories like this. It's just really damn good at it. There's a reason why Microsoft's diagnosis model is 4 times better than the average doctor, I think, right? Which kind of puts it at as good as the best doctor if it's 4 times better than the average. So
yeah. And this is where like, man, just AI, because of its natural objectivity and will to like get to the value as quickly as possible. That elegance that you mentioned, right? Like, it's for most people, we're not even gonna feel it, right?
Mhm.
Because we just haven't touched those problems. But those are the things that it's continually, when we talk about the foundation, just continuing to raise up, right? Because what we also know to be true, and this should come as no shock to anybody, like culturally, like the kind of stereotype problems we have and all these things. Like, somebody posted on LinkedIn, this week about being a woman and having a problem, like having a health concern,
Yeah.
going to a male doctor, and they basically said, walk it off. And then she goes, gets a second opinion, and turns out there's arthritis or something going on. Right.
Right.
So that dynamic, like, so many things at play there, but those are the things that, like, AI is just, we saw that in the beginning, right? It was carrying some of our human-based training with it in terms of stereotypes and all that stuff. Like, those are the things that AI is just going to leave behind because it
Yeah.
knows it's not going to get to the value as quickly if it uses those biases. And I just want to, like, I gotta share this. I've been wanting to share this experience that I had. I think it was on Friday,
Mhm.
um, where it's like, think, like, we won't even realize that it's just providing better experiences through all these mechanisms, right? We talk about AI as a foundation, and then with social specifically, like using algorithms using AI, like, to get better. And if AI is smarter than the humans, don't let the humans, like, yeah, give them the ability to follow and like things and set some preferences, right? But the amount of behavioral understanding across the spectrum that it's going to be able to apply, like, I can't prove that that's what's happening here, but I'm going to tell this story and you give me some other explanation, right? Uh, so we're going to be at Inbound. This post got some good engagement from Jason. I said, all of a sudden, I'm grateful for costumes not being allowed. Dodged a bullet there. These two comments happen, right?
Rip Clement.
Some time goes by. Uh, one of the comments was, "Who said costumes aren't allowed?"
Can you zoom in a little bit? Sorry.
What's that?
Can you zoom in a little bit?
Yeah.
There you go.
I said, I'm sure there's a blurred line somewhere, but we were about to go full astronaut, and the team said no. The Inbound team. I guess Deadpool ruined it for everyone last year.
Wow.
Do you remember the situation where somebody was dressed up as Deadpool and stood up in the audience with Ryan Reynolds and made a ruckus? You remember any of that?
I don't. I gotta say I don't.
Okay. So there was somebody walking around and he got attention. Like, Ryan Reynolds called him out during that conversation. He was full mask, like full Deadpool costume, right?
Yeah.
And as I was saying this, I was like, man, I was trying to remember the guy's name, right? Because I followed. There was some blowback after the event, right? And
Mhm.
so I was engaging with it back then, and I paid attention. But haven't engaged with this person at all, right? Since then,
Yeah.
I don't use his name. I don't like. He had not directly after making this comment. The next time I go to my feed, I see this post, right? In like second or third post in the feed. This is the guy that was dressed up as Deadpool, right? So Yeah, we got a connection. But so here I'm thinking like, okay, like I couldn't even have remembered his name, but as soon as he popped up, I was like, yep, that's the guy, right? So now I'm wondering like, okay, I haven't seen his posts in literally like 10 months at least,
Uh-huh.
right? So maybe he just happened to start posting again or he hasn't been active. So I go and click on his profile. He's been posting every damn day since then, right? And
Okay.
so tell me that's not like the algorithm, at least when we're talking about like LinkedIn, like trying to like they're clearly experimenting constantly with what we're seeing in the feed, and we don't have as
Mhm.
much control as we'd like. But tell me how, like when I hadn't seen this post, I hadn't interacted with this person in months, which is usually how you start to see people's, right? I
Yep.
didn't call him out by name. He did not engage with that post, right? Directly.
Mhm.
Like, how else am I seeing that post when he posts every day
Were
other
you?
than just behavioral understanding that
d-
Deadpool inbound last year costumes, this guy,
Sure. Why not?
right?
Yeah. Now it could be that. I will ask this. This is the only alternative. Did you happen to, at the time or like while looking at your post, verbally say anything, like out loud, like audibly say anything about it?
No, no.
Okay. Then yeah, that's how it tied it together.
Like, I
Because
didn't even
otherwise,
remember his name. Like, if somebody would have asked me, I wouldn't have remembered his
wouldn't
name,
have to. Yeah, you wouldn't
right?
have to. You just tie events together. It's the same
And
thing
that's
that
the
the
kind of
Oracle does.
like, those
Yeah.
are the kinds of data points that are there. Like, they're
Right.
there. And now AI can access them. And like, of course, like, what are the main pains related to LinkedIn that everybody has been, uh, dealing with for a long time? Like ephemeral um, content. Like, it's there and then it's not. If you don't engage with it
Yep.
right now, you're never going to see it again, right?
Yep.
Um, uh, like, oh, when we click the follow bell, we don't always see like that person's content,
Hmm.
right? And like, we are not good at trying to engineer our own context in a way that makes sure we see all the stuff. So imagine if I post something or I comment, and far and away the very best, most relevant piece of content related to that I could see in my feed next is something from 6 months ago. Will I complain that it's 6 months old, or will I appreciate its relevance and value in that
I
moment?
complain. I complain. What you're
Um,
talking about is the same algo that YouTube uses, or very, very similar. Um, YouTube will do a couple different things. If you're talking about something, it'll pull a random video like 1 in 10 about whatever you were talking about, and it'll pull that in. That hasn't surprised me since Meta started doing that with Messenger. Like shit, it was COVID when they started doing it, um, and they were getting sued by all these different states. Anyhow, and so now what it does is it tries to do just that. It tries to match subject matter. And so while that seems like a good idea, I'm watching primarily for AI stuff, and it just continually will pull me shit from like 4 years ago, 10 years ago, 6 months ago, whatever it is. And it's like, man, if it's over a week old, I don't give a shit. Like it's old. If it's in the world of AI and it's over a week old, now at this point, that shit's old. Like it's
right.
seriously old. We're already
I
at the
mean,
point
that's
where
fair.
every 2 months we're getting something massive. So like week to week, that's how compressed my time frame is like every model release feels like a year to me. So every time period in between is might as well be like a month's time, right? So like one
Right.
week equals a month to me at this point.
And that's fair. Like that makes those posts irrelevant.
Yeah,
Right. And that's
yeah,
what I mean. Like if AI could see, like all knowing, all powerful, every post ever created, and it could pick the very best, most relevant, most valuable one for you to see,
mm,
like the timing of it becomes irrelevant.
right.
Right.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
if it can find that and put it in front of you, like our whole understanding, and now that you say it, it does make sense that this is how YouTube, works. But obviously, there's like the relevance piece is what gets better based on AI's behavioral understanding of how we operate, not our direct like instructions that we give it, right?
right.
And those are like we cannot fathom like what's the level of like data required to be able to look at and pattern match and do all that stuff, like required to actually do that, right? And on the way there, things like
Yeah,
LinkedIn, there's gonna be some like, why in the hell am I seeing this thing, right? And even when we get comments or we see like, yeah, people comment on posts that are like a few months old, it's like, wow, why are we seeing that? Why is that other person seeing it and just engaging now? So there's so many mechanisms. Like maybe it's front and center on that person's profile, and it's not in the
right.
feed at all, and they just happen to get a new person, right? There's so many ways to try and control that
Yeah,
people are really bad at. The best ones have made a lot of money off of being really, really good at that part. But that, like, just like SEO, like, it's just fallen away because the majority of us are not that good at it. And, but we ask for it. We want it to be true, right? We want that experience. And that was just like, again, and this, like, if you're not open to having that little control,
mhm,
like I don't even think twice about that post, like
right.
coming up in my feed. But when I can like imagine what's possible, what that means, what that could possibly mean if that's how they're designing the system, which it would make sense for them to be designing the system in that way now that they have access
Right.
to AI that can actually support it. Right. And that's like, I have to let go of the fact that I couldn't remember his name. And then next time in the feed, he's right there, man. Like
It's helping you out, right?
it answers a
It's doing
question.
that.
It's only my question. I might not have shared this, but it's like it's an uncertainty gap. It's a story loop, not closed. However you
Yeah,
want to think about it. Like that keeps me on the platform. That keeps me engaged and feeling value from LinkedIn. Man, like, and LinkedIn on this foundation, whether it's GPT-5, whether it's Microsoft, Google, like they're all building and testing and training from each other.
yep,
Like this is like most people, all you're gonna feel is just like a frog in boiling water, except it's the most comfy, like beautiful water that you've ever been in. And it's just gonna be like, man, somehow I was feeling comfortable at the level we were at yesterday. And I thought that was perfect. Now I'm here today, and I think this is like a higher level of perfect. I don't know how it's happening, right?
yeah,
And some people are asking, I don't know, and they get freaked out. Most of us, all right, I'm here for it. Like, let's just enjoy it, right?
yeah. I mean, it's definitely at a point where it like you can like I don't know. At least for me, it's at a point where I already right like 3 years ago, whatever, my job didn't exist, right? So like even what I'm doing is as a result of the technology. Um, and if we went back to not having this, all that comes to mind is like how boring shit becomes. Like Oh my gosh, I have to go back to only doing my job because now I only have time to do that. I don't have this extra time to be able to do this other stuff. Um, my son was asking me yesterday, he's like, so with all of the possibilities and the capabilities that you have with like art and music and programming and software and all this stuff, it's like, if you could like focus on one or whatever, like if you didn't have to work necessarily, like which one would you do? And I was like, all of them. I would do all of them at the same time. Like that's kind of that's the dream for my brain, is to be able to take off the filter of trying to concentrate, right? Like that would be amazing for me to to like not have to take Adderall in a day and just let the scatter go and actually be able to like control it all at the same time. Like even already, and I guess like that's why it would feel like retrograde to me. Already it's like it feels like Mickey Mouse and Fantasia. Like every day. Every day I orchestrate these things to go do stuff, even while I'm talking to you. There's something happening on Replit. Like after this, there's going to be, GPT agents working on something, working on another repo that I've got. Like I'll have, Suno probably working on music or playing music in the background, right? Like there's just, there's so much that you can do that it's crazy, and it's all creative, right? Like we were talking about before how work would change, and especially how like white collar work would change. And it's interesting to me that like creative thinking, somebody was I wish I could think of the name. Somebody was saying this last week that like liberal arts are basically going to make like the largest comeback ever. And it's true. Philosophy has been necessary for the last decade, so it's nice that people are actually asking for it now. Um, but really, if you're a creative thinker with what you do at work, yeah, this has got to be your peanut butter jelly time. Like I don't understand how it couldn't be, because like I don't know. That's why it's so awesome for me. Is like I come from a creative background. I used to do like animation, drawing, CGI, webs, like every like whatever. If it was, I used to do printmaking, whatever. If it was creative, I wanted to get into it. Even with music, used to play guitar, piano, like get my hands on it, and mess around with it. And now I can do that at this like infinite level. And I just like to me the world has changed completely, right? And with GPT-5 it's like immensely so, because there are just it's just more, like it's that much more that I can do, right? um and for like
Yeah.
I know for most users it's like a tab at a time, like a GPT conversation at a time, or like maybe two or something like that. Like you guys have to imagine, like I have at least like six GPT tabs open, at least like two to three Gemini tabs, definitely a Perplexity tab somewhere, or just in Comet already. Like instead of opening a Perplexity tab, I'll just open comments so that I have the assistant to go do the shit, right? Um, so it's like I'm using multiple like standard generative models, and like using a generative uh you know browser on top of it, or agentic browser on top of it. um and that's that's just the toolkit aside, right? So without like bringing in like replit and stuff like that. So I don't know, to me
Yeah.
it's a digital wonderland every day, right? And it feels so very close to Ready Player One. uh and I was just talking to the Oracle yesterday, because I was trying to find out. We moved to Ohio, uh, not necessarily knowing, but I knew that Intel was moving a lot of their stuff to Ohio, and then talking to some people, they were like, "Yeah, Amazon's going to move stuff out here too." So it's like, all right, this is going to kind of become a pretty big hub, because the price is also very attractive for for an industry to move here. There's plenty of space and plenty of people that want the job, so it makes sense. And yeah, started talking to the Oracle about it. I'm like, hey, what's going on with Ohio? Like, is it going to be? like the new Silicon Valley of the Midwest? Is that not happening? You know, Andrew Reel moved over to Columbus. So that was like a big, like, oh shit, really? And then like Intel's moving a bunch of stuff. Oddly enough, like they're moving a bunch of stuff up near Cleveland, which is seriously unexpected. Microsoft also building up in Cleveland. Um, there's going to be NVIDIA building in Columbus. And from what the Oracle says, essentially, it looks to me as though Cleveland, but definitely Columbus, will become like the first two megacities, basically, of the future. Um, super looking forward to that. Definitely moving to Columbus in the next year. Um, so yeah, like that's where I'm, and I'm not like, I don't even consider myself to be an accelerationist. I've been looking forward to it. That's all. I've been looking forward to it. If you go back far enough, you'll see there's definitely episodes where I've been like, we should probably put the brakes on. It's getting kind of scary. Um, so it's not like, you know, I've always been like, yeah, bring it on. Let's rush it. Fuck the safety. Let's do it. Um, but now that it's here and it's being done in the right way, and you can see like how it can fold into reality. I mean, I was watching this. What was funny is like Delta released a story last week about like, oh yeah, we're using AI to like help us with ticket pricing and shit, right? And now this morning I see a story from CBS. It's like travelers using AI to try to work their way around ticket pricing. So it's like, guess what? It's now a zero sum game. So I guess you can't fuck with pricing anymore. So abundance, here we come.
Yeah.
All the pricing has to now be transparent. Nobody can dick around anymore, because just like you can use the tool to do, you know, to try to screw people over, the people can use the tool to try to work their way around the system that you're going to use, right? So
Yep.
I don't know. It's amazingly hilarious to me how this stuff is going to work. I don't, you know, I say abundance with regards to airline tickets. I don't, who knows? That's a different, it's an industry
I
problem.
mean, that's where like the balance is like you
The
see things
fairness,
like GPT-5 like continually pulling control away from human beings in ways that they have not been able to achieve, in places they have not been able to achieve balance,
yeah,
right? And that's the path that we're on, and it's going to be uncomfortable for a lot of people, but you can almost always bring it back to abundance versus scarcity, and like value extraction versus value add, right? And
mhm,
that's where we're going to continue feeling value add from the AI, while other companies continually try to use AI to extract value in the ways that you're describing, like we're helping with pricing. It's like, well, all I have to do is ask AI, are they really helping? Are they really doing this to help with pricing for us?
right,
Um, and it won't take long for us to get, it doesn't have to be like a perfect answer. This is where it's like the balance on our side as users is understanding when, it's placating us versus telling us the truth. And
right,
that's where you can, again, like we're not even good judges of that in most cases. We don't have all the data points. And that's where we get to the word vibe and vibe coding, like releasing control and understanding abundance is just vibing forward, like
mm,
with whatever you're doing, because that gives AI your most natural, like authentic behavior and engagement, that then it will be able to work for you, right? Instead of like, oh, I gotta give these instructions, and like this is how I'm used to doing it. This is how other people are telling me how to do it. So I gotta be a different person basically when I'm interacting with this system.
mm,
Uh, and it's just like more and more, it will like your expectations will not be met. Like if you show up in that way. Um, and with the gap that I think you were mentioning earlier, is that other people will have results, like will get the good results, and you're gonna see them and you'll be like, what the hell? Like, all right, let me take another prompt engineering course or like
right,
do whatever. right? And it's just no. And like, I'm looking at a comment right now that came from this post of like somebody who used to make $100,000 blogging,
Yeah.
right? All like concerned about SEO traffic and just getting destroyed, right? And this comment, that AI is changing the game, but creators deserve fair rewards. We need to act together to protect our content and local businesses. What do you
Huh.
think? Here's what I think. Reward distribution will never be more fair than it is right now, and it's about to be. Like the thing that I just described, like the example that I just gave, like that is fair reward for the person that gave me that memory
Mhm.
and like had enough impact for me to call it out. Like this is the social networking effect, like at 100%, right? So if you don't create content that doesn't create memories, emotional response, like there is no more gaming the system,
Right.
right? If you're showing up in a way that doesn't actually add value and is trying to game the system, it's not going to work out for you. So what are you protecting at that point? There's like the way you play the game is what you want protected,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And in this post, it said at the end, like, who's responsible for this change or this like fight, like preserving what we know to be true, preserving like fairness. And it's like humanity is responsible. Like, and the transition sitting in front of most humans is abundant mindset versus scarcity mindset. Like, as soon as you make that change, everything becomes like there is at least a path towards fairness that's actually fair and not decided by any one person or one entity. And like that's where fairness, like what is fair rewards? Like if you made the thing and it's actually valuable, you'll be rewarded in ways you never could have imagined previously, right? And it's not decided by
Yeah.
Google or OpenAI or any government. It's like you will get put in places where AI, the smartest thing on the planet with access to all the data, way more than any one thing or person, is going to make that decision. And I know it's uncomfortable for me to say that out loud. I'm a little uncomfortable, right? But that's like, why wouldn't we want that? It has all the data. It can see all the data. It can pattern match better. It can do behavioral analysis on all the things. So yeah, every model increase, it's going to get better and better at that,
Yep.
to the point where it's like we're going to stop asking, like, and just enjoy it. Like we're built to enjoy that moment, right?
I
The
mean,
dopamine hit we're talking.
eventually,
Yeah.
enough of us will get there. Right? That's
So
I don't know, like it's yeah, that's a pretty, I won't say it's a decent place to leave off, but it's like, I don't know, that's the same thing that I was talking about with a group this past week. This is the second week almost now uh, that I've encountered this question, um, and against it's nothing against current users. It's just that you're behind the ball. So there have been people that have asked me like, hey, in HubSpot, how are you handling this, or how are you doing this, or how do you use AI with HubSpot and that kind of thing. There are some people who are kind of like who are on the ball. They understand that like using HubSpot is like a different thing now. It's a different definition than it was before. Pretty much means that you're like creating emails, or like you're doing something in platform that you just can't do outside of platform, because that's how it's getting for a very small percentage of us. But you could definitely consider us to be like the new power users of HubSpot, because we don't fuck around with stuff that we don't have to, because it wastes time. Like, I'll use my CRM monster because I can click button, do what I need to, as opposed to like click, upload the CSV, go through the thing, go through all the tabs, blah, 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 blah. No, I have AI do that shit for me. So I just upload the CSV and then hit go. And the AI makes sure all the values are matched and all the properties are matched and all that shit, right? When I have to do workflows, I just do them outside. I just do them outside of it. I just create that workflow and throw it into HubSpot, right? Like, if you're doing, like I was talking to this group about Gemini gems, and just like how insane they are now by comparison to like what it was before, and especially because 2.5 Pro's under the hood. So, I've made an API, like it's basically like all HubSpot docs, just in a gem. And that thing, I mean, it one shots custom coded actions, like it one shots whatever you need to that like was using the API, basically, like if you needed to. So in other words, like, I don't know what the I guess technical solutions engineers and solutions engineers, I'm not sure what the title is in our ecosphere of the people that write custom coded actions specifically, but that now gets folded into RevOps, right? Like so soon, like within a month, real soon, RevOps, you're going to be able to just like push button do custom coded actions. You're just going to ask for it, and that's it. And that, if that doesn't exist in HubSpot as Copilot, that's going to be weird to me, right? So like when you go in HubSpot and you open a custom coded action, there should be a Windsurf, Cursor, GitHub, something type Copilot in there for users to just be able to generatively type in, hey, I want to perform this custom coded action, and boop, 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 have it fucking pop out, right? Even if not for regular users, because yeah, that can get dangerous, at least for developers, right? Like have it under a certain permissions level or something like that. I don't know, but you guys want to charge credits, have stuff that actually is worth having credits too, right? Like we were talking about identifying records. Okay, you're now up against a diminishing, you're up against a diminishing cost, increased value tool. So if I am continually updating my information hunter, and my information hunter runs on Nano, my information hunter just got cheaper, almost in half. It's now costing me almost half what it was costing me before. And I don't have to do anything. I just have to change a number behind the scenes. That's it. Right. So if you're using like a GPT plugin on workflows to enhance any of your record data, that shit just got cheaper, and you didn't even have to do anything. Right. So like in terms of credit costs and like costs for enhancing record, like if you're using GPT to enhance records, my God, are you getting actually enhanced records? We're talking about cross-referenced data. We're talking about inferences pulled out of data. We're talking about actually being able to non-firmographically define personas and buyer profiles and customer profiles from non-firmographic data, which is the best data to be using at this point. Firmographic data almost doesn't mean shit. That just means like these really big ass buckets to me now, right? Yeah. I want to know the nitty gritty now. I want to know what they typed in. I want the write-in fields. I like people who sit there and say like, well, it's going to take longer, so they're not going to fill in the field or whatever. Well, you're going to lose value. The leads that you're going to get that come through, all of those companies, all of you guys talk about valuable leads, and we want leads that actually convert, and this, that, and the other. Either, there's a real simple thing to me where it's like if I want what it is you're offering, I will jump through the hoops to get what it is that you're offering because it is what I want. If you're trying to shove something in my face that I don't want, then you're making it super easy for me. And now I question what it is that you have because it seems like it was too cheap to get to the answer, right? And you're throwing like sales in my face and all that kind of stuff. Like, it's a different game altogether now. Wall Street is even waking up to it, and they are talking about the fact that people are ignoring websites now. They are talking about the financial impacts to marketing. They are talking about the financial impacts to advertising. People are getting really amazing ads done. I mean, VO3 just released music in the background for crying out loud, right? So now you have like, you could do full-on music videos without even having to like use a music creator if you wanted to. I don't, there's direction for it now. Like there's so much stuff you can do with it. It's insane. So like content creation altogether is just a completely different game. Like oddly enough, I don't have the time to work on video stuff, but if I could orchestrate another agent, boy, would I, right? Like it's just, I would get into all of those avenues like every day because that just seems like the coolest shit to me, right? Like on a daily basis, I'd be able to wake up, it's like you wake up today, folks. You go to your one job and you do your one fucking job, and that's it. And you wake up the next day and you do the one job, and you wake up the next day and you do the one job, and you wake up the next day, and maybe somewhere in between, there's a new software platform to do your fucking job. And then it's like, oh boy. And then you spend like a year bitching about the fact that you had to learn a new software platform to do your job, right? To me, now I wake up every day and it's like, oh man, like I, which one? Which one am I going to do today? Like, it's such a different feeling for me. Like the weekend is the most exciting time ever now.
Yeah.
And yeah, of course, there's the go outside and play and play with my dogs and do that kind of stuff. But it's like it's just so much more creative. And I don't know, for somebody that is creative, like this is like pretty much the best time. I mean, it's only going to get better, but like this is the beginning of what will be like the better times in my life in terms of like stuff that you get to do, right? And things that you can accomplish. Like seriously looking forward to finishing this book because it is a really, really, really great story. And I wouldn't have, oddly enough, I was trying to work on these like a couple months ago. And it really is the case where like Gemini is just writing better now, right? And Claude is writing better now. So like the increased levels have actually sped up my want to get these things done, right? I kind of shelved them before, and now it's like, no, let's bring them off the shelf. Like already with Sonnet 4, I'm gonna have to write the volume 2 of Claude's books, right?
Yeah.
It's got to be a new volume with every version, I think.
Nah, I think the space, like, just cannot stress that part enough. Like when you let go and then use it to enable these things that we're talking about, the space that gets created for whatever, right? Whatever's going to create value for you, right? Like for us, it's really important to help people through this transition. And like this thing that we're doing at the end of the month, which I knew I'd find a good way to segue. Right. Where you were going though, it's like the whole concept of hunting customers versus helping humans. Like your data strategy, it's completely different data strategy. Another way to think about it is like some people are talking about inbound 2.0 because inbound cannot be your website, cannot be SEO, cannot be right. Like instead of focusing on conversion, focus on signals. Like if you're helping people, they will give you very clear signals that you need to act on immediately. But when you do, it's like better than any kind of conversion rate ever before, right? Shorter time to value, higher, more qualified people because you're waiting. Like, duh, you're waiting until they give you very clear signals that they feel value. How about that?
Right.
Like, or waiting until they give you signals that they trust you, and then you reach out. Like, man, like no shit. Like, why are we having such a hard time? Because the infrastructure that we've been living in and working in and training in forever has taught us that's the way. Like, less fields on a form. Like, that is the most overused, weak ass excuse, in my opinion. Like, to apply strategy to conversion, to increase conversion
Yeah.
rates, right? It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's been like debunked so much, like in the past few years, and just so this. But
The
then we
same thing
went to
with like, no one reads our emails. Yeah, of course nobody reads your emails because you sent an email with bullshit in it that that wasn't actually relevant. So it didn't really, even the headline wasn't relevant, so it never got opened, right? So like, instead of
right,
blaming they blame the technique. Sales has been blaming the techniques for years. Oh, this technique doesn't work. Oh, that technique sucks. This technique sucks. This channel sucks. This method sucks. Okay,
yeah. Oh,
well,
LinkedIn, it's changing their algorithm and their impressions, blah blah blah. It's like, yeah, because you haven't been helping. You haven't been adding value. Like, your
right.
shit's not relevant anymore. You're just gaming the system. Everybody knew it. We just couldn't stop you. Now AI can. It literally can stop you from gaming the system because
Yep.
it doesn't have to show your shit. Like, if it's not relevant. And to your second point though, and then we'll wrap, like, we're able to do this, and the 20 plus experts are able to show up and help in this way 100% thanks to AI. Like, the space to be able to do this, even doing these kinds of shows, like, yes, AI gives us something to talk about, but even having the headspace to show up on a weekend and get excited to talk about this stuff out in the open is such a
Mhm.
different place than where we've been for years, right? And the things, like, all the levels of enablement. I mean, Stuart Balcomb's going to be here. His app, Account Scout, exists because he was able to vibe code it into existence.
Right.
Like, so much of what will be talked about is like, I love this meta understanding, this meta strategy. Like, because Value First is all about helping you transition from an industrial age mindset and strategy and organizational structure to an AI age based everything, right? It doesn't mean AI first everything, right?
Mhm.
But it means AI prioritized in a way that enables the organization to transform. We're not optimizing. We can't optimize the old shit,
Yep.
right? And what that means is we can't rely on KPIs of old to drive everything. And I'm sorry, that made it real easy to like structure organizations and put butts in seats in the right way. And it's just not that way anymore. But there is a path that you can take, and it relates to this path that we're talking about. But one of the few things you can control is your data. And that's going to be true for a minute. Like,
Yep.
your data, your business context, if you don't have that, and HubSpot's just one platform, but you see it when you're working with LLMs directly or inside of HubSpot. Like,
Mhm.
AI cannot help you if your data is shit and it can't understand your business context. And surprise, that's always been the case for the humans that you bring into work for you. Like, these all-star sales dudes or all-star marketers. And we asked first question, like, oh, how many customers we got? Uh, I don't know. I don't
Right.
know. Like, let's dig in the ERP. Like, no. Like, we're just not gonna do it. And most ERPs implemented right now, like, good luck
Right.
asking AI to get in there. This is where,
And
like,
try
if
to
the
figure that
humans
shit out.
can't even navigate it, like, you have to do so much work to prepare for AI to be able to do the things that humans haven't been able to do ever, right? And
Yep.
like so much of this event, like design and the customer journey, um, is like, let's take this seriously. Like we know the temperature has been rising on this topic. It's time to stop like accepting dirty portals as just a thing that we all have to deal with. And we don't. But we're gonna try
Right.
and show up for a day on August 28th, right before inbound, the week before inbound, because y'all ain't ready for what's gonna be announced at inbound. And so you can get ready by getting your data ready and leveraging all the sweet stuff that's coming out. But you're gonna
Mhm.
need it ready. And like hopefully through workshopping, right? Through having real conversations, like all these experts with different backgrounds. Like there's no pitching happening here, right? This is just showing up, sharing knowledge. It's a free event. Um, and I'm so grateful to get it to just to be just to have the space to do it, right? Like um so if you have dirty data, which everybody, the answer to that question is yes, come hang out with us on August 28th. Obviously, I don't expect one damn soul to hang out 8 hours straight
Right.
online. So there's going to be, I think we're at like 30-ish, sessions right now between roundtables and workshops, tactical strategy. Like we're going to try and cover for you. The goal is to get the content out the door, like the helpful conversational stuff alongside the practical workshop stuff. Like
Yep.
we can get we can solve this problem, folks, like of dirty data, of data hygiene problems, and we must. If we can get this the right frameworks in place, that's when AI like can help you
Actually makes a difference.
just actually do it for you. Like I love
Yep.
the new term you've been talking about, Nico, like uh actual customer profile.
Yeah. Yeah. As opposed to the ideal customer profile. Yeah, that's something
Like,
I've been tooling around and working on, which is because, again, we're going to be doing a deep research workshop, and we're going to be announcing that at the Value First Summit. So you're not going to want to miss it, because you'll get details on like what it is we're going to be serving up to you. And yeah, it's going to be a 9-week course, and it's going to be covering uh, primarily that theorem, which is the current data that you've got. So like most people, they're looking for their ICP, and you end up going out there and you end up like hunting down what you think is supposed to be the right customer based on other people, based on historical data, this, that, and the other. And in reality, you're sitting on everything you need to know. You just never look at it in a holistic sense. And if you think you're looking at it in a holistic sense and you're saying, well, yeah, we do. We have it hooked up to Marketo, and we have reporting, and we have all this we have data sheets and spreadsheets. None of that means shit. None of it, right? Because what you don't have is the insight to be able to tell you, like, oh, over seasonal time, through these notes that we looked at during these calls, based on these sales that were done with this person at this particular time over this period, this is the trend, right? Like, it's an insane amount of calculation that happens in minutes. In minutes, you can drill down and figure out, like, oh, shit, these are the people who actually buy our stuff. This is what they actually respond to. Here's the actual marketing efforts that we've made that garnered that. Because I've watched people just like throw shit at the wall with their marketing emails. That's what it looks like to me. And then you kind of just tweak your emails based on your marketing lists, but the marketing lists aren't based on people who actually want your shit. So you're tweaking your emails for people that actually don't want to buy your shit. Do you get it now? Your actual customer profile is the person who is actually interested and genuinely moved by the words in your email, genuinely moved by the ads that you target them with, genuinely moved by these things. You're actually delivering value to the right people, and your content starts to matter. And you actually now get to care more because of the fact that it matters. And all this bullshit of like, oh, people don't read emails. They don't read crap, right? Like, what you guys are doing is the equivalent of mailbox advertising, and you know it. And you know you're not really targeting the right people. Because if you were, you would see the lifts that you're supposed to be seeing. But instead, we have what? We sit there and cheer over, like, oh my God, you got a 20% open rate? Oh my God, 20%, crazy. The average should be 90%. The people you are sending to should be the people who want to read your shit. Like, and this whole thing of like, well, in a sea of all these other emails, yes, in a sea of other emails that don't mean shit. Like, I don't know. I don't know how many times we can say it, but if you show up on the 28th, you hear it all day.
There you go. Yeah, I'm excited for that series. I mean, it's all hands on deck the rest of this year.
Yep.
Like the people that know what's coming are gathering to help the people that don't know what's coming.
Right.
And so we don't know exactly how it's going to impact every single one of you, but we know that there will be impact, and just know that we're going to be here like to support. And that thing that Nico's talking about, like that deep research session, it's just, we're going to, all of us, like this is the whole point of like focusing on actual engagement and actual behavior. Because at the end of the day, we could spend a ton of time doing customer research and market research and figure out exactly what to call things and exactly what. Meanwhile, the whole market's like coming up with new terms every damn day, and nobody knows how to make sense of this in a clear way. At the end of this, we need to be conversationally literate with AI by itself, with humans by themselves, and with AI and humans together. Right? That's how we got to come out of this. And most people haven't been great at communicating with other humans. Like there's lots of studies that show that. Now we got to get good at communicating with AI. That's what most of this stuff is in support of that. Because when you can be good conversationally with AI, especially when you have teams like working alongside the same kind of infrastructure, which is what I'm so excited about HubSpot with where they're going. Like, man, like even hearing about your app that we're going to show more next week, like just like watching Nico and George work like separately, like as individuals using stuff, like so powerful and inspirational to see how much they're able to create by themselves. Now that Nico's been sharing these stories of working with a couple other experts, man, talk about exponential value just by like every single person that you add to the stack. Like,
yep.
man,
Yeah. Text that.
everybody has Iron Man suits. Like, just imagine that world. Like,
that's
right?
That's
So I look forward to diving in next week with you on that. But if you like what you're hearing here today, you don't have to wait until next week. We do a daily show every morning at 7 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Eastern, and it's a podcast. So you can check it out. Value First AI Daily. So until tomorrow morning, man. Always a pleasure.
See you then, sir.
See you next time.
Bye, guys.